The NHL Entry Draft is less than 1 month away, and the prospect with all the hype surrounding them in the Calgary Flames fan base is, of course, Tij Iginla. In a recent interview, he addressed the idea of potentially being drafted to the Calgary Flames organization and the constant comparisons to his father, Jarome. And let's just say, what he had to say was very exciting to hear as a Calgary Flames fan. Plus, we have a bit of a Chris Tanev unfortunate injury update that could be very important to the Calgary Flames. We'll get into all that and more in this video, but first, I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I am Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe, because only right around 26% of the people watching are subscribed. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames, then make sure you join the fastest growing community of Flames fans on the internet. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. But let's break this down. Let's get into how Tij Talks. Oh, baby, that could be its own talk show. Tij Talks. Maybe it will be one day. We will have to see. But Tij Iginla got interviewed by Mark Masters of TSN. In case you missed it, it was absolutely phenomenal. Tij Iginla, he is so much like his father, not only, of course, in the way that he looks physically, but just the way he speaks. You can tell that he is the spawn of Jarome. He speaks so eloquently, so perfectly, and always has that big smile that his father Jarome had. Tij Iginla is already looking like not only just amazing hockey player, but wow, he is just wowing people with his personality and just how good of a guy he seems. And if you didn't watch this interview, I strongly recommend going and watching it. You can find it on YouTube. I'm sure you can find it on other places as well. It was very, very exciting to watch, as he could very well be a Calgary Flame in the near future. But the one question that was asked that everyone wants to know the answer to is how he would feel about being drafted to the Calgary Flames organization. Because a lot of people think if he were drafted to Calgary, there'd be too much pressure on him to perform like his Hall of Fame father did here, and he would just constantly be in the shadow of his father. But Tij, when he was asked, it seemed like that was not the case at all. If I pull up the quote here, when he was asked how it would be to be a Calgary Flame, he said, "It sounds like it would be a lot of fun and be a cool opportunity," and then went on to say, "But that would definitely be pretty cool." No bad vibes there at all. He would love the opportunity to be a Calgary Flame, to be in his old stomping grounds where his pops was obviously an NHL legend here and an icon of the Calgary Flames for so many years. He was personally my favorite player growing up, arguably my favorite hockey player of all time. I absolutely love the guy, and his son has a great chance to do the same thing if he is given the opportunity to play for the Calgary Flames. And even if he doesn't get drafted to the Flames at the 9th overall pick, who knows? The Flames could trade for him or sign him at some point in his career so he can get a taste of what his father might have done. And who knows? Tij could end up being better. But the other question from this interview that I want to highlight, because let's be honest, Mark Masters, if you've watched it, Mark Masters didn't even seem like he was listening to the answers of Tij Iginla, but he was just bombarding Tij with tons of questions. But it was great content. And the other great question I wanted to look at was, if Tij is drafted at 9th overall, that would mean he is higher than his dad, who was drafted 11th overall back in the day. So would there be bragging rights between Tij Iginla and his father? And I really liked his answer here. Yeah, maybe a little bit, but he had a pretty strong career. And then he went on to say, the draft only means so much, so I'll have to start chipping away at those achievements as well if I want to get those bragging rights. So as amazing as it would be if he were to be drafted higher than his dad, of course, he needs to actually have, a very good career with tons of accolades. Maybe he'll do what his dad couldn't and go on to win a Stanley Cup. We pray that that happens in a Calgary Flames sweater. But either way, this kid answered every question so perfectly with a big smile on his face. You can tell he totally gets it when it comes to the media. Maybe his pops media trained him, but he's obviously been around hockey his whole life. It was great to see an interview about, kind of his hockey career. A lot of the questions were about Jarome, which just goes to show that the media is always going to be asking questions about his dad. And Tij Iginla said he gets chirped a little bit about his dad's career, saying like, oh, you'll never be able to do what he did and things like that. But Tij said some great things saying, you know what, there's nothing I haven't heard. It can fire him up a little bit, but in a good way, really get him going and maybe make him play better if he gets chirped about that. But he said, there's nothing he hasn't heard before. Nothing can really get to him. He has heard it all. Try and come up with something new to get under his skin kind of thing. It sounds like he has the perfect mindset. So if you were under the impression that it would be too much pressure for him to play for this franchise, I don't think that will be the case. He could be an absolute star here. Obviously, he'll have to perform on the ice for that to be the case, but so far he is checking every single box. But I wanted to get some opinions from the Sea of Red themselves, so I went to take a quick look at the Reddit, and there are a couple little comments I liked here. So the first one from Mr. Love to Poop, that's an interesting name. He said, Iggy should have won a cup at some point in his career. Flames management let him down, never being able to surround him with enough quality pieces. Yes, that kind of sucked. The best chance was 2004, where, let's be honest, Iggy kind of, with the help of Mika Kiprusoff, carried that team. If you look at the stats of the leading scorers of the Flames that year, it's Iggy, and then there's a huge drop. But I like this reply here too. But could you imagine the redemption of putting them both on a cup as coach and player in like 5 years? If Jarome sticks around in the organization, whether it's in an advisory role, the assistant to the GM or whatever his current role is, or if he ends up having some sort of coaching role, maybe he could be the new power play coach. He knew how to score a power play goal or two. It would be so cool to see if they both stay for when the Flames are able to contend for the cup and get that cup. I know it's dreaming, but it is fun to dream, and it is fun to just think of all the possibilities that could happen. And this is such a positive one. I don't need people in the comments raining on this parade. It is just cool to think about. But the other comment I liked here was from Nice, and I will never forgive the team that picks Iggy instead of letting him go to Calgary. Looking at you, Montreal. Don't do it. Montreal has the 5th overall pick, and it has been rumored that they are very in on Tij Iginla. Montreal does need some forwards. They'll probably absolutely draft one. The 5th overall pick could see the first forward go of the draft, other, of course, than the top one there. But either way, I don't know if Montreal will take him, but I like this reply here too. Future considerations were the only thing we received when we traded Monahan. Can only hope. I think what this user is alluding to here is that the future considerations aren't, a player or a pick or anything like that. It is the future consideration of not drafting the player that most of the fan base wants. I know it's gotten to an insane level, this fan base's obsession with Tij Iginla, but it's fun to be excited about something, and we can't be excited about what we see on the ice lately, so why not be excited about this specific prospect? That's a common tongue twister, and it really got me today. But either way, it is fun to look at, and I just love Tij Iginla even more now, and I really hope the Flames get him. That being said, of course, take the best on the board, but he is way up in this board for me for if the Flames should take him. I love the guy. Now let's briefly touch on this Tanev injury because it does somewhat affect the Calgary Flames, of course. If you missed it in Game 4 of the Western Conference Final, Chris Tanev blocked a shot, and unfortunately at the Edmonton airport on the way back to Dallas, he was seen in a walking boot. Really sucked to see. Hopefully he got a booster juice. A boost is, I don't even know what to get him back to full health, but either way, it sucked to see that he's hurt, and this could really, really affect the Dallas Stars, as Chris Tanev has been phenomenal for the Stars. And we as Flames fans, well, why do we care? Because in the trade for Chris Tanev, we, of course, have a conditional 3rd-round pick in a couple of years if the Stars do make the final. They're 2 wins away, but they're also 2 losses away from being out of this one. So we really, really want the Stars to progress. We also, obviously, I'm just going to speak for the majority of Flames fans here. We don't want the Oilers to win the cup, and we'd love to see Chris Tanev win the cup. And if he's hurt, that really takes a shot at the Stars' chances, as he has been insane 5-on-5 defensively for them. He has been a stud in the playoffs. It was the pickup of the trade deadline in the entire NHL. If he is hurt, that means the Oilers have a better chance of skating circles around. And if he is or sorry, I meant if he's playing hurt, they have a better chance of skating circles around. If he's not playing at all, expect the Oilers to double shift. I think the Oilers will be in the Stanley Cup final. But either way, fingers crossed that Tanev is ready to go and that the Dallas Stars can progress to the Stanley Cup final. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, of course. And this one goes with yesterday's video about that potential trade with the Detroit Red Wings, that crazy rumor. I personally didn't do a good enough job of saying that I don't want the trade. I was just trying to give the article the benefit of the doubt and showing what this trade could be. A lot of people are unhappy with me for not making it clear that the verdict was an absolute no. But I like this comment here from our boy Pinball, a regular around here. He said, imagine writing a whole article just to finish with this offer to the Flames, which wasn't a great one. But Mark, we spoke about this. Don't mention trading Sharangovich. Just kidding, of course. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that little comment there at the end, but it is true. A Sharangovich trade, we would have to get so much more back, as he is no longer a hidden gem. He is a perennial goal scorer now. I mean, he had 30 goals last season, well over 30, and it is known how good he is. The Flames would need a haul back for him. I really like that comment. Thank you so much for saying it. Make sure you comment down below if you want to be featured in a future segment of Comment of the Day. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.